Hangover YouTube. Yeah, so drinking 2 nights in a row. I'm absolutely mangled. Oh. But, so you don't forget about me, go do a video. So I've been really lazy here. I've got borrowed this off my pal. I've got it in for a setup. My pal Gordon, he's the guy that had the Roadster RS100. He's got the Japanese guitar bug. So here we have a Westone Thunder 1. An early one. Serial number on this isn't on the back of the headstock like it normally is. It's on the neck plate. Matsumoku 111 blah 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 blah. Made in Japan. I think this is about as early as a Thunder could be. I think 81 is it for the earliest. So this is probably the most common to see model. Why does it always beep since I start a video? With the sort of natural and the 3 stripes. I was talking about this the other night actually, but it's got the strips in the middle, so you think, oh, is it a neck through? No, this is a bolt on one. So this is a 1. It doesn't even say, it says the one Thunder 1 on it. So you get the 1A, which is this guitar, but it's got an active preamp in it. A 2, which is a set neck version of this, and a 3, which is a through neck version of this. You don't see very many 3s. They were 3 times the price. You see some 2s, but not very many, and you see a lot of 1s. So as I said, this is the first iteration. You can tell by looking at it because it's got the. I tend to think of it as a sort of cartoony type logo. Later on, Westones, like about 1984, I think, or 1983, they've got like an eagle shaped in a W sort of thing, which is a logo. But this is the sort of. I don't know. It's not my favourite logo, to be honest. After this, at some point, they had that logo was on the neck plate. This one actually says Matsumoku on it. So what we've got is fantastic looking ash. Look at some of the. I don't know if you're really going to see this, but wee bits like that. See the way that the grain kind of like that. Looks awesome. Then we've got like maple and rosewood or mahogany strips. A 3-piece maple neck. The old idea with the 3-piece being one piece of wood, the grain kind of goes this way, one piece of wood, the grain goes this way, and then one piece of wood, the grain goes this way, which means they're all kind of fighting against each other, which makes it better. It makes it stronger than a 1-piece maple neck. I think it probably makes it, you could, no, it's obviously not cheaper, but it's cheaper to make it good doing it this way, but it's only a positive. Brass nut, brass saddles, brass bridge, brass knobs, through strung. You know this is going to be the quality of these things. These made a big fuss when they first came out in 1981, whatever it was, because you know you were comparing this to like a Gibson or a Fender, which was like 4 or 5 times the price and not as good. So it became quite a thing. A wee bit polarising the opinion of what they look like. Very pretty. One of my issues I have with these is they're very often it's not like a thick poly coat that's on them, so I can actually feel the grain of the wood between it. So it's like I'm not going to say it's varnished, but it's like a very thin varnishy thing, which means that a lot of the time they're very worn here. They've got big bald patches on them, and because as soon as you break through the surface and the atmosphere, the dirt gets at it, you end up with big manky looking spots on it. This one is in very good condition. It does have some damage if you hold it up to the light round about there, but this is about in as good condition I've seen this particular model. My favourite one of these I ever saw, I think an issue with a crack in the neck which had been fixed. It was a Thunder 2 and it had sort of cherry red sides. Really good. I don't think it was this thin finish though. I think it was more of your usual, you know, your poly coat you would normally get on a guitar. So this is kind of, it's one of those guitars, it's somewhere in between a Gibson and a Fender. So you've got the, check, I think that these are Gibson scale length, aren't they? I think this is a 24 3/4. Yes. So this is Gibson scale humbuckers. So it's a Gibson, but the earlier Westones have a switch before push-pull pots were available. It's got a switch, so it's got coil splits, so it kind of does the Fendery thing as well, and that's a very Fendery type of bridge. But then it's a Gibson 3-a-side headstock, so it's like somewhere in the middle between it. Actually, they did the year after this, 82 or 83, they brought out a Concorde, which I've got a yellow one of, which is the same shape In fact, it's even got the 2 humbuckers, but it's got like a one-piece neck on it and a 6-a-side headstock, so it's a sort of Fender that does Gibson-y things, whereas this is a Gibson that does Fender-y things. As I said, this has not been set up. It's a little bit spanky around about here, but I can't be bothered doing any work. I thought I'd try and put a video out anyway. But even on it is on. So in here you've probably got MMK45 pickups, but I don't know. Normally the MMK45s, or the later ones anyway, have like hex poles, so they look like DiMarzio Super Distortions. You know, they've got Allen keys instead of screws on them, but these have got screws. But they could very well be the same pickup, but with different different pole pieces. Just a different design. Actually, I had one of these in this colour. It was an 84 model, and it had like black covered pickups, kind of look a wee bit like EMGs, but I think they might have actually been the same pickups, just with different, you know, different fashion. But I think what happened is they started off, as which I've generally found with Westones, they generally start off better. Like, so the 81s are kind of just slightly better than the 82s, then slightly better than the 83s, and then they kind of slowly they made them slightly cheaper. So by the time you get to the later on ones, gone are the brass knobs, because obviously brass knobs are expensive compared to plastic ones, so they put plastic ones on them. Also, with Westones, I don't have one on the wall just now, but they were big on switches. Well, this has got a switch, but in 84 I think they started having push-pull pots, and the knobs that they had were kind of, instead of being cylindrical, they were that shape, which actually was a really cool thing, because it meant that you could see when you went to lift them up, you could get a really good grip on them. It's quite difficult to do it, like see with Strat knobs, because they're the kind of, let's go now. When you're trying to pull up a push-pull pot on a Strat knob, the whole is black, it's bad. You know, it's kind of conical, so it's kind of against you, whereas the Westone ones are almost like that. So when you go to lift them up, you've got like a, I'm holding it in such a place you can't see it. Everything seems to be black. What's going on? That kind of idea. I think they've got a name for them. I don't know what they called them. Switchmaster or something like that. Pots. You'll see them kicking about. They started off being metal and then they ended up being plastic, because I've had both. Yeah, so this guitar is lovely. As far as I can tell, it's all original. The tuners are unbranded, but I'm pretty sure they're the original. They'll be Gotoh ones, but later on, you got these pickups that they had the Westone logo on the back of them. I think maybe just once they'd sort of done quite well. Westone were the Matsumoku factory's home brand. But I think before that, there were Westone guitars. Like, I think it was an American company. You don't see very many of them though. Making more your sort of Beatley 335-y type things, and then they were an American company, but they got them. Matsumoku did get the contract to build some of them anyway, so they do exist. And then I think the company went under, and Matsumoku, the factory, actually bought the name. I mean, it's like the whole idea of Westone, like tone of the West. Fair enough. That probably makes perfect sense if you're in Japan. It's like, oh, it's like, you know, it's the sound of the West, like rock and roll and all that. Like, yeah, totally. But they actually had their own research and development department. That's why they kind of advanced. I mean, you still could argue this is an advanced, a modern guitar, even though it's 1981, because it's like, oh, what are they doing? It's like they're trying something else. It's not just a Strat, it's not just a Les Paul, and you know, things like the 3-piece neck, the brass hardware, the brass nut. These are all genuine attempts at improvement in the coil split, which wasn't. I think they were available. I think Schecter's had coil splits, but not normal guitars that normal people could afford. Didn't come with the split coil thing. So that's it. Forward is coil splitty. So there's bridge pickup, single coil, or humbucker. Bit of difference. It's a wee bit spanky, this guitar. So this will not be a demo of it playing. This is basically, watch this video. Normally these videos are what, 20 minutes long, so this one's going to be like 10 minutes long. This is the talking bit, and then I will, once I've set it up tonight, I'm just too hungover. I had another all-day breakfast, another black pudding and 2 different types of sausage and egg, toast, beans, bacon, and ate it, felt amazing. Now feeling a bit wheezy again. Is there such a thing as, like, see, I've had this before. I thought I had this before a couple of times. in rehearsing with the band, and it's on the way in. I got a shawarma kebab, and it's like, you know, playing the bass, you know what I mean, sweating and smelling of shawarma kebab. See when you eat like a greasy breakfast, does it actually come out your skin? Because my fingers are greasy, like I washed them after it, and they're now greasy again. The same thing happened to me yesterday, where my fingers seem to be getting greasy. It's like just through. Is that just my body, like, because I've eaten so much fat? It's kind of going, right, let's get rid of this. It's like he's not peeing or pooing. Let's just push it out through his pores. Is that kind of what's happened? A little bit philosophical there. Yeah, so I'm looking forward to getting this working. To be honest, it actually plays really well. It's just a little bit spanky. A wee bit, so I don't know if it's that. Is that, what's a truss rod set like? It could just be overdone. Not really. I think, to be honest, the action might just be too low. What was sitting at? Yeah. It's like 0.75 of a millimetre of an action, which is... The fact that it plays at that shows you how good a guitar it is, because you can't get very many guitars to play at all when you've got the action that low. You know, I mean, it's really... If you don't want to, you know, you can always play the guitar with one hand with this. If you practiced at it a bit more than I have. It's that very fine line when you get just too spanky. A wee bit. That'll go away if I put distortion on it, won't it? Kinda. I can't do any of that, but if I could, this guitar would be excellent for it. So look forward to probably tomorrow night's video, just do the nibble thing. Westone. I might even dig out I've got a couple of Westones. I've got the bass version, and I've never actually owned on my own a Westone Thunder, because a little bit of the supply and demand thing, you don't see them very much anymore, and the prices have pure shot up. These are now, you see, I saw a Spectrum the other day for 350 quid, and it like road-worn Spectrum DX, and it's like, I did a video saying the best guitar you can buy cheap, best quality guitar you can buy is a Westone Spectrum, and I paid 50 for it, did it up and sold it for 90, I think, and that was only like 3 or 4 years ago, and now that same guitar, not done up, it's advertised at 350 quid. I don't know whether it would actually sell for it, but I mean, I think that's kind of, this is one in this condition, I think, is worth more than that. I think one in this condition is probably, we're talking about maybe 400 quid now, something like that. For that, I mean, worth it. I mean, compare that to what you would get as a Fender or a Gibson for 400 quid, you know, wipes the floor with it, absolutely, no discussion there. Like quality wise, I mean, even just like down, so you know, the way the build quality is just through the roof. Forget, okay, the parts and the design and all part, but the actual build quality is just through the roof. It's a Matsumoto. By this point, they really had something to prove. You know, they were coming into the market with a brand new type of guitar, a brand new make, and so they threw absolutely everything at this guitar. It's like the one, I don't know if this was actually, I think the first one might have been the Paduk, P-A-D-U-U-K, which is I think that might be a type of wood. It's not this shape, but it's similar. I think this was a bit more normal. It was like a single pickup, had an active circuit in it, was a crazy shape, had a cool thick Paduk top. They look amazing. Never seen one of them in my price range to buy one, but I need to get one. But this is the one that really stormed. If you ever look up any, I remember I had a history of the guitars book when I started playing it. It starts off with telling you about the, you know, the Telecaster and the Les Paul and all that, and then it's like they all mention the Westone Thunder just as being, this was the point where suddenly you could buy a pro level instrument for slightly more than the cheapest guitar you could buy, which was crap. You know, like your cheap Les Paul you know, Les Paul Customs are always black, those sort of things, your Satellites and Columbus and all that. They were like not that much less than this, but significantly underachieving, you know, bad pickups, pot metal parts, plywood, you know, tuners that just bent, all that. This has got, you know, Goto tuners and, well, Goto hardware, all top quality. This does not need upgraded. And you could argue, could you upgrade it? And it's like, well, I suppose you could upgrade it, but you're not going to make something that goes, oh, the pickups are this good, I'll upgrade it and it'll be this good. No, you know, you could put Seymour Duncans in it, it'll be that much better. You know what I mean? It's like kind of thing. Or maybe you don't like the sound of these, but I like these. They're a little bit bright, maybe, but they totally work. 2 volumes and a tone. No, 2 tones and 1 volume. Yeah, it just needs a wee bit of a tweak and a new set of strings, and I'll do a video of this tomorrow. So, cheers for, thanks for watching last night. I don't even remember. I hope Mr. White didn't unsub. He said something cheeky and I was like, unsub, yeah, but I hope he didn't. I hope he realised I was trying to be funny. Anyhow, love you all. Catch you later. Like and subscribe. Cheers.